What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Data is My Science podcast, the show that makes data your passion. I am your host, Dapper Data. Today, we have a special guest on the episode. All right. We have talked about this probably like once or twice. All right. We're talking about deepfakes. Have you seen Barack Obama call Donald Trump a complete dip? You know what? All right. Or Mark Zuckerberg brag about having total control of billions of people's stolen data. All right. Deepfake technology is being weaponized against women, right? That's a possibility, right? And that's what's going on now. Pornography, things like that. I mean, deepfakes is something that we really need to educate ourselves on. And I brought a special guest on the podcast today. His name is Peter. Peter, say hello to the audience.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Peter, look, Peter, in addition to building and selling four companies, okay, and to me, I can only imagine that that has to be a big undertaking because I have only built one company and I don't even know if it ever gets sold, whatever. But but I know
I almost
that
killed you.
I know, But he's built four companies, right? Peter helps underrepresented founders build their company as well, so definitely people out there, reach out to Peter. If you could sell him on your company, then reach out to him, right? He'll help you out with it. But he offers them free mentoring and built an incubator whose graduates have raised more than $500 million and created more than 3,000 jobs in the world. All right. Outside of work, he is a passionate adventure traveler. All right, with me, that's we probably can connect. We probably can meet each other and travel all day, every day. I love traveling. It doesn't matter wherever in the world. I love it. And he is an aviation enthusiast. Now there, I might have to stop you there, Peter. Okay. I love flying
I'm
on planes, but I don't know. Maybe you're like a.
I'm weird about I don't care. I just love being on airplanes. I never get past the miracle of what an airplane is. It's this machine flying. You're at
Uh-huh.
33,000 feet, and through this, miracle of technology that you don't understand that's happening not just in the plane but on the ground, and there's thousands and thousands of people all working together to
Uh,
keep this one machine in the air. It is kind of the pinnacle of what humanity has created, in my opinion,
that's a
is
great. Yeah.
regularly scheduled air flight. Imagine trying to explain that to someone 100 years ago.
Yeah. No, 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 exactly, right? They probably 100 years ago, they probably never imagined we would be where we are today
They were
with
like
with aviation.
balloons, were like, and zeppelins, I think, that were it. um, so yeah, I'm sending away
No, that's
uh, interview request. I'm saying I'm being interviewed. Shut up.
no,
Uh,
no, 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 no. It's fine, man. Because I mean, you got to go through the process, right? You're a CEO, right? Let's talk about that because you're constantly getting things, right? Business is business, and so you're the CEO of a company called Certifyit,
that's
right?
correct.
And that right there to me is an amazing accomplishment. A lot of people don't say they're a CEO of a company. And you also have a master's in AI at Stanford University, right? That is another accomplishment that is mind blowing to a lot of people because I even took my son, right? He's 12 years old. I have him learning Python programming since he was 8, right? And one of the things they say, look, if you're learning this at 8 years old, do that program. I forgot the name of the program. I actually forget it. And he's still doing it. I don't know. But through that program, you're able to get a scholarship or something within the top like 40 computer science schools, right? It's like, all right, great, cool. I'm going to sign them up. Great. And then one of the top schools was Stanford University, right? It was like the top school, to this day, as far as computer science. So I definitely thank you for being on the podcast. Tell them a little bit about yourself, Peter.
Well, thank you. First of all, I would say I was doing computers early enough that all the really smart people were not yet attracted to it because it was really geeky and early.
Uh,
So I think that was part of the reason. I can't imagine me being able to get into Stanford's graduate AI program now. I have to be perfectly honest. I mean, people are coming from all over the world, and they're brilliant. But yeah, so I was kind of spent a lot of time in school in my 20s, overcoming all my insecurities by getting more and more degrees. And so I have the master's from Stanford, and then I have an MBA from Tuck, which is Dartmouth Business School. And my undergraduate is Cornell, where I studied math and computer science. So I was, pretty dorky. That was computer science in 1985. We were hardcore. We were not pretty to look at either. But the pioneers. But anyway, yeah. So I went on to all sorts of things before starting my first company, which was in the wine business. I'm bringing wine online, which involved all sorts of interesting regulatory challenges. But we got the laws changed in 30 states to allow direct shipment of wine. So that's a legacy of one of the battles I had to fight. Spending Silicon Valley money because our investors were Jeff Bezos and Kleiner Perkins. So we had $46 million. So that was that sort of heady kind of experience where it's like, no, we will reshape the world.
Yeah.
Because we have endless money. So I had, until you don't, which is the rude thing that we founders learned is, in 2000, everybody dropped us like we're hot. And so many actually promising companies were just left to spin in the wind or died or bought for fire sales, which is what happened to Wine Shopper, because we had all the legal way to ship it. And anyway, I digress. We'll get back to, but so there is kind of a theme here of, okay, regulatory, how do you get wine to people's houses safely, getting UPS involved to collect signatures and all that, getting the ecosystem to sort of be there. And now you fast forward 3 or 4 companies, and now the one I'm working on now, Certifyit, is like, okay, finally AI is here, even though I studied it 30 years ago and couldn't use it once. Now, now it's here. And I'm like, oh my God, I can see that there's lots of things that could go sideways if we're not kind of ahead of them in terms of being careful and knowing what to look out for, right? And one of them that's just blossomed in the last year, of course, with DALL-E and other technologies, Stable Diffusion, and the other big one that sounds like it's a video game. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it. I hope you edit these out.
No. I mean, even if you think about it,
Midjourney.
Like Midjourney. Oh yeah.
I don't know why that kind of sounds like a game, like a video game, like some goth.
Yeah,
game or
but
something.
no, like what you're saying though is amazing because it stimulates 2 questions for me, right? Your journey along the way, right? I think about why did okay, back then AI was not this thing that they could imagine really, but for some reason you say, hey, look, I'm going to do this master's in AI, right? And then, along the way, right, you're not thinking about money. You're probably not thinking about it. It's something that you had as a vision.
Science fiction. I wanted to build Star Trek things, right? I just thought.
So is that what drove you there? Like, is that what drove you to be able to say that?
100% curiosity. The idea of starting a company, no, I was purely driven by wholesome geekdom. I mean, I didn't even, because my family wasn't rich, so I didn't have, I didn't take any of those SAT prep classes. I didn't get any coaches. There are people, and I think that's even more prevalent now. And my mother, she didn't even finish college. So I had to write, I wrote my own essays, and I did get financial aid, and so I guess I'm telling you that because I'm older now, and you're always supposed to preach about, back in the day. But,
You're supposed to, right? I mean, we
right,
need wisdom,
right.
right, in order to be able to
I had
grow.
to work. You realize how hard it was.
Yeah,
And
yeah, man.
so anyway, yeah, we didn't have the internet, shit, and we couldn't, and we certainly didn't have Chat GPT to write our papers.
We did have
You know,
that. Yeah, no, it's interesting because your journey is so powerful, and I think it is amazing for the youth to understand. And the reason why I say that is because people always talk about the success that they're having now, but they never talk about the process that it took to get there, the journey they went through, right?
right?
You're like, look, back then, right? When did you say you went and did your master's in AI?
87.
87, so
It's
1987. So,
1987, so
you
last
know,
century.
not to age you, man. I was born in 1985. Okay,
Oh wow!
so I was born 1985, right? And so
I was
I'm
drunk most
seeing.
of 1985. That was my senior
Ah,
year in college. So
I would say that I had my spurts of being in the same moment, but and maybe even till this day, I don't know, but but yeah, man, like your journey is amazing, and a lot of times, I look at things like basic programming languages like C, right? When they talk about that, you know, most of our generation now don't even understand what C is, right? Yeah, C++,
oh,
yeah, Java, yeah. You don't understand what garbage
Pascal.
collection is, right? You don't understand what Lisp or Pascal
Lisp,
is, right?
dude. So Lisp,
Right?
that was the AI language.
Hey,
That was
man,
AI. Lisp, literally.
you kind of have everything given to you, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being able to understand the foundation of it. So it's important to really talk to. I call you a goat, man, greatest of all time, right? You're a goat, man.
I
Out there.
actually programmed on punch cards. So that's the one beauty. I've been around long
What?
enough. I've been around long enough to actually have the first program I wrote, I fed into a mainframe at Drexel University
What?
in Philly, and off of punch cards. And
Oh crap, man.
I think it was like something that would print on the line printer, like "Hello, my name is Peter," and that was it. And
Man, and that probably blew everybody's mind, right?
oh yeah, because I brought it home, and I could show. Look, the computer knows my name.
Yeah,
So yeah, those were early days.
man. So I want to talk about Certifyit, right?
Mhm.
Tell me what Certified is doing. What are they doing for the world right now? And some use cases, right? Because you guys are doing something great, phenomenal, right? Dealing with fake products, dealing with online scams, fake reviews. You're in the mix, right? So tell me a little bit about Certified.
Yeah, well, I think the seeing. Remember back when they had something called photographic evidence?
Mm-hmm.
That was, and I don't even know how the courts treat it now, but obviously we know that a digital image is not necessarily real. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But our brains don't know that. And if our brains know anything, they believe. Seeing is believing. And even
Mm-hmm.
if you're seeing unconsciously, seeing is really powerful in terms of how it impacts your brain and how it forms memories. And now we've entered this era where what people see can be manipulated through generative AI platforms from OpenAI and these other things. And I love these tools, by the way. Like I said, I've been waiting 30 years for them. But I
Mm-hmm.
also extrapolate and I'm like, whoa, we also have all these channels like YouTube and Facebook and TikTok, whereby these generated images and eventually videos could reach mass audiences. And then what is truth anymore if you can't
Mm-hmm.
tell the difference? And as the Washington Post, I think, says underneath their headline, democracy dies in darkness. It
Mm-hmm.
really dies in disinformation. especially if it's visually communicated in a way where you like, no, dude, I saw it with my own eyes. And right. And yeah, you did. And so that's the problem we're trying to solve. And all this app does, it's the dumbest thing in the world, Certifyit. All it does is it uses the APIs to record the video, and then it squirts it right off your phone before you can even like touch it or even get near it. And when it does that, at the same time, it's checking your GPS coordinates, and it's comparing them and your time, and it's looking at the time at the server. It knows the GPS coordinates and the time zone shift from those to where
like the metadata, right?
Figure out a lot already, and then it plots it onto the map and creates a link. And the only way to see the video is with that link, and you can share that link on social media or put it on a web page or whatever. And then after people have seen it, you can even turn it off back in the app, and it'll stop showing the video. But all it does is play the video. You can't download from it. There's ways to hack the download, but we're gonna get around that. We're also gonna add things like liveness detection, which is something that image classifiers can do, which can, like, it will put a green circle around your head if you're living, and put a red circle or square around your head if you are a picture of you rather than live. So
there should be some type of like, I mean, and now that you say that, right, I'm like, it'd be cool if there was like a Bitcoin type of feature where, you know, NFT or something like that, right? You know, where you can be like, look, this is.
Well, that would be part of the test, is like, maybe there's that would be how you authenticate yourself, is it not only has, it recognizes your face, but it does a liveness test, right? So that's kind of it's very relevant, because it's the tip of the iceberg of the things that we're going to have to do, of the sorts of new, you know, problems that we're going to have to solve. And so what, you know, trying to solve all that is impossible. So we said, let's solve one thing.
Right.
Which is all we've solved, is we've created a way for you to create a video that you can send to someone that no one can tamper with, and that proves that what it shows happened at that place and at that time. It doesn't know what's in the video. It could be a video of someone spouting some nonsense. It doesn't know whether it's true or not, but it will say that that person spouted that nonsense at this place and at this time. And it's displayed when you share the link. It opens up a map, shows you exactly where it took place, and then plays the video, and it streams the video in the browser. And so that's all it is. It's an app to record a video, upload it, and share it with a link that you control
securely, right? Yeah,
securely. But so the app is dead simple. But by doing that, it's a simple way. It's a simple to use app that people can use to. It's really something you ask other people for, which is why it's a real hard thing to bring to market.
Like repudiation or something like that.
So use cases. So I got off the phone earlier today with the guy who called me from Ireland, and his whole business is people selling fake animals, purebred dogs, into he's just in the dog breeding business. And apparently authenticating that you're buying the dog from the actual breeder is a big deal. And he's like, I want to roll this out in this industry to allow breeders, or so that a buyer can ask the breeder to prove that this dog is here on this farm where this breeder, because apparently you buy dogs. It's kind of, I don't want to say, I don't know enough about it, but you do go to these farms, but sometimes they just you buy them remotely and they get shipped, I think, for really fancy people. I don't know. But anyway, so that's a weird one. But now you think of more common days. So you're about to buy a Roomba, used Roomba on eBay from someone, and you just want a video that shows that they have a Roomba and that it works. So just send me, I have a video of the Roomba that works, and there's no way they can fake that. Because there's what the fraud is when people can have videos and photos of things that they don't even have. And that happens on all these platforms all the time. And so think of Airbnb. Like, have you ever been disappointed that the Airbnb that you got didn't actually look much like the photos? Because the photos were so freaking
absolutely
blown up, fish-eyed, and airbrushed.
I mean, Burger King alone kills me, with the burger.
Right? Same thing. And so the thing about this Certifyit is you just say, hey, give me just take me around, show me around, because you can do camera out, camera in. So you show me the place, and they can, it's wide enough to be able to show you, but it's not going to make it prettier than it is, and you're going to see what it actually looks like and how it actually flows. So you just ask, you can say, I won't rent it until you send me this. But, that's a really hard model to go to market with. So we're trying to, partner with these companies, and then the other one, the killer app that is profile fraud on dating apps. So apparently a lot of people do like fake photos and then, you get there and you're like, should I go through with it? It's nothing. But I'm still kind of, whatever, and this is, I hear tell, right? Because I'm old. This all came after the way I dated. But so you would just say to the person, okay, when you're finally saying, okay, let's meet up, you'd say, okay, can you just send me a certified video? Just show me that you are who you say you are, what you actually look like. And it is going to show me where you live. So if you don't want that yet, then go to a park or somewhere and just send it from there. But that way I will see what you look like right now today before I come over there and find out that you're an axe murderer.
No, that would be great, right? I mean, there's so many scenarios that you're bringing up.
Right.
I'm sure it could be social media, it can be like TikTok, whatever it is. It could be, I mean, so many people are sitting there giving these deep fake presentations to people, right? I'm pretty sure I fell for. I think you threw a couple of scenarios out there, and I was like, "Oh shit,"
Anytime you don't know. I remember when the app was still in development, and it was COVID times, and I had to go to LA, unfortunately, because I had a family member who was very ill, and I had to rent a car, and but. Everything COVID times, you didn't, they'd say something was open, it was one. So anyway, I'm trying to return the car before the deadline, and the place I go is closed. And they're like, and this is the only place that's open because we've only opened 5 stores in all of LA or something like that. And so I was like, well, I'm going to use this thing to prove that I am trying to return it at the proper location at the proper time. So I took a video of the car and me at the location at the time. And then when I brought it in Monday, I showed them the video and I just said, and see, this is an app, it shows, and I showed the map and the timestamp. And he's like, oh, all right, dude. And
they can't say anything.
So I didn't have to pay for it. So it was just like, it's like whenever you got to prove something, where someone might be trying to mislead you, or you might need to prove something because like crazy stuff happened. You're like, no one's going to believe this.
Right. No, that's amazing, because what you're doing is, right, you're taking basic information that we understand. I saw in your on the website, right? You think about metadata, right? Just system metadata alone, right? Timestamp, date, the name of it and all that stuff. How important that is for repudiation, integrity checking and things like that. I mean, it's amazing,
And
so how do you? Yeah.
Well, it's editable that's the thing. In any iPhone or Android photo, you can go in and you can make yourself be in the on top of, Annapurna in the Himalaya at, 18,000 feet, drinking a latte. It's just like,
Yeah.
and you can have made it happen in 1960. So, and it doesn't even keep track of whether you've changed that or not. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just by locking down the metadata, which we snatch right away once the photo, you can't even record the video if it can't get access to location, for example. It won't even let you record.
I think this is amazing because I mean I look at even like something as basic as simple data management, right? Like I work for a company like a NetApp right now, and we are a true data management company, right? We don't focus on AI. What we actually do combine with partners like NVIDIA and things like that to do real AI work, right, as a whole. But we're the data holding portion, right? And so when you hold that data, and there's something to be said about you can't even tamper with the metadata. Oh my gosh, that is a win for a customer, right? Especially in the space of
Absolutely.
like
I mean,
the NSAs and things like that, right?
well, we want to be the video that is automatically admissible in court, like, because
Mm-hmm.
cell phone video is not automatically admissible in court at all. They have to
Mm-hmm.
do all these tests, and they do have to try and figure out if there was alterations to the metadata. And if any of that's unclear, then it doesn't count. And so, I think it's the reason the company is set up as a public benefit corporation. So it's kind of like, it's not a nonprofit, it's a for-profit, but it's public benefit. So it's mission driven to protect privacy. And we're held to that because we're still a Delaware C Corp, just like the big corporations. But Delaware
Mm-hmm.
came up with this new type called a PBC, a public benefit corporation. And so as a PBC, we kind of want to, the vision might be for people who remember this again. There was, something called the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval that
Mm-hmm.
used to be something that was people would have stamped on their products. Like now you get a eco-friendly sticker or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or there was this thing called Underwriters Laboratories, and an electrical device, and you might still find it in the US, I don't know. It will say UL listed. And that was because when electricity first came out, people were just like stringing wires all over the place, all these different voltages, and
Uh-huh.
didn't understand a damn thing about it. So electrocuting themselves, and
Yeah.
or
Just hoping it works.
people make a coffee pot for one and they plug it into this other one and it would explode or catch fire. So they had
Right.
to sort of have this UL listed, and it became a standards body that just said,
Mm-hmm.
this is how it needs to not blow up when you plug it in. And this is kind of for truth. I think there needs to be a company that's kind of wholly unable to manipulate. So we can't see it either, right? It's it's encrypted on Amazon servers, and it's the same thing that Apple does. If you've ever lost your iPhone, you will know how absolutely frustrating that is, because that happened to me last week. But if Apple is Fort Knox because everything's encrypted. They don't have the keys to the car either,
Mm-hmm.
right? They might have half of it, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're dumb enough to let someone in Soho in London in the evening ask you directions multiple times, so you keep unlocking your phone in front of them so that they then can memorize your code and then snatch the phone and run. Very clever. That's how they can get into your iCloud. And which a week later, I just now got back into it. And the only way to do it was to come home to my iMac, which that has extra capabilities to allow me to send codes to other devices.
Mm-hmm. They were like, "Do you have an iMac?
It's me.
I can help you."
I got it back. But yeah, that was a segue of segues there.
Yeah.
But it's very relevant to you know, the fakeness, the theft, I don't know, somehow it all feels related, like, because identity theft, that's where they were headed, right?
Mhm.
I could see the breadcrumbs of all the things they were trying to do. And you know, just funny little thought, you know, if I had for some reason decided to take a little Certifyit video of,
Mhm.
hey, by the way, while we're here, you seem cool, let's take a little video together. And then I would have, you know, I would have the proof. I can't say the word.
Mhm.
It's been a long day. I'm not going to say it, but everyone knows what I mean. I will have proof that that person was with me 1 minute before the phone went missing or something like that. And it's uploaded to the server. So while the guy's running around trying to like change the code and everything, it's secretly in the background. Doesn't matter. It's uploading it. So that's the other thing is if you're in a bad situation and you record I got you on camera, they just take your phone and you're doomed.
Mhm.
But with Certifyit, you get them on camera and then they don't realize that that just went up into the internet.
Yep, it's in
With
the
your
cloud.
location,
Uh-huh.
and you know, and they can't even find it on the phone. They're like, delete it.
Yeah.
Look, it's not in here. It's not in here because it isn't. So
Yeah. No,
anyway,
I'm sure there's like some like time between. We're not even gonna get into that. Like, where did it get to the cloud or not? You know, and then it's
well,
like
that is
break it
exactly
down.
so it's such an interesting thing because you know, as an engineer, so then I'm going into, okay, I'm like perfectionist, so I want the
Mhm.
videos to be at 1024. You know, I want them to be
Yeah.
HD. So they're HD. But that's not, this isn't about HD. This is about just proving, right?
Yeah.
And it's more important that it upload quickly than it look beautiful.
Mhm.
So as hard as I feel like,
That's a
just
great point. That's a
nauseous,
great point.
but I'm going to go in and we're going to clock it back to a
Mhm.
lower res, because for the use case the app is now, because it started as something different, those just need to get up as quickly as possible, and they don't need to be HD.
Right, right. It's almost like it should be like streaming. Wow. Like
Yeah,
streaming to the cloud, like multiple copies here and there,
yeah,
versioning in place and all
and
that crap.
super fast. Because if we can get it up super fast, that's another thing. It'll be much faster than like the 64 gigabit 4 seconds of Apple video,
Right,
um,
right.
right? Which is gonna sink
Mhm.
in a day.
So every day, right? You got teens, they engage with like countless of images and videos, right, that have been edited or digitally altered, right? You know that happens all the freaking time, and from simple things like Snapchat filters, right, to short, lighthearted or ironic TikTok videos, right, that are out there. And it's clear that young people are like pretty savvy when it comes to consuming, right, those things and creating these things. And it's funny to me. I'm like, man, spend your time elsewhere, you know. But they do it, right? You know,
Yeah,
they manipulate these videos. They do all these things, manipulating media, and in a lot of ways, you're seeing altered media is just part of being online daily now. You know, so but
it's
you
fun.
know, yeah, it's fun, right, to them. So I get it, right? So how do you believe that, or why is AI deep fake technology a threat to democracy now?
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking to like the most tech friendly. Like, I love.
Hmm.
Like I said, I was the guy who told you why I love airplanes, simply because I wonder at the fact that they actually can fly.
Hmm.
Um, for me, um, I think, you know, I just, I think I just forgot your question.
Oh, the why is it a threat to democracy?
Oh,
You know?
right. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you'll have to re-record that. Sorry.
No,
That
no,
was
it's fine.
a little brain omission. But anyway, rewinding. Yes. So how, so first, yeah, what I was trying to say was, this is where it starts. I love technology, right? You heard me
Mhm.
earlier about, geeking out about airplanes. And so I find it weird for me to be sitting in this chair, like the one who's like running around saying, watch out, this
Yeah.
stuff is dangerous. That's not me, because I'm like the guy that, I'd love to always think about the future and stuff. But in this case, I it's funny, everything you live through teaches you something. And I think the combination of things I've lived through, and the acceleration of what's been happening in the last, you know, 5 to 10 years in terms of sort of the eroding of what facts, like even what truth is, that
Mhm.
that's happening at around the same time that the technology is enabling people to create any reality or any truth. And so it's just, the timing really sucks, because
Right.
we're at this point in our society where we're arguing about what's real. So even with just, the way it is today, we don't agree to the same set of facts. And with generative AI and with chat, things will be written and photos created and films, as you opened with, of people saying stuff they never said, but it's going to
Mhm.
be so believable. It's going
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
so real. I mean, look what they can do in movies. They're going to do that, and they're going to make anybody say anything. And then you're always going to be like wondering, is that really this time?
I know. I
Will
know.
always be them this time. Can you imagine what that's going to be like? Like, did
Mhm.
they maybe just switch him out just for this one section because he did something, or maybe this network? Then you get all these deep state theories, and you can go crazy because you just won't know.
Yeah.
And so, if there's a way where we can simply establish that there are ways to prove something happened, and that is with a closed system of video like Certifyit. So it's a closed system, meaning the video is never accessible by the people who record it or the people who watch it. It's captured, goes into the cloud, and it's there, locked down in Fort Knox. And we can only do this on iPhone, by the way, because
Mhm.
on Android, so I've been talking to programmers and security people, and they all tell me exactly how they can hack this on Android. They can spoof the GPS pretty easily, that you can't get
Mhm.
around that because of the way it's architected. Whereas iOS, you wouldn't be able to get in there to spoof the GPS in a way that the iOS camera API would be, for stuff I don't understand. But anyway,
Mhm.
this is an invitation to all your listeners to please try and hack Certifyit on iPhone. And if you do, I'll give you $1,000. There it
Oh,
is.
nice. Nice.
Right?
Nice. Nice.
If you can send me a video streaming from its link, which is currently called Yaza, and put it somewhere that it couldn't, like, you're on top of Mount Everest, but it's you in a supermarket. You're in the Piggly Wiggly in Savannah, Georgia, where my father was before he passed
Mm.
away. And you can put yourself anywhere, and you're, riding a robotic donkey on the moon, whatever. Send me that video, and I'll give you $1,000 if you can send it from Certifyit.
Oh man, there we go, man. Hey, look, all
Just
hackers
made
out
that up.
there jumping out. I like it, man. I might even been my master's is in hacking. Basically, I would call it
There
hacking.
you
It's really
go.
cybersecurity, but I did a lot of hacking for specific companies that I cannot name at some point, right now. But I love it, man. I mean, I'm focused on data science now, my PhD and stuff. But hey, I may go back, man, just to say I did that, and
Do
so
it.
so that's amazing, So would you say that AI deepfake technology is is just about videos, or can it be photos as well? It can be other stuff as well.
Well, it can even be anything. I mean, remember, like, I think everyone listening to this is old enough to still know, like, when you're like 18 and you want to drink, that there's ways to make your ID look like you're 21.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So that was a physical thing, and all those physical things are gone, right? They're going away.
Mhm,
Um, so this new world is going to be uh, all digital, and so I think it's just going to be easier and easier for people to um, create any reality. And
mhm,
so, there's all the generative AI stuff that you mentioned. So the chat GPT, and so not just writing, but obviously the image stuff is the stuff that's most concerning. And video is nothing more than a bunch of photos strung together. So if you can do photos, you can do video. And so video is coming as soon as they can get it fast enough. And that's where it's already here. I don't know. There's like Google, your listeners can Google uh, uh, what's that Olympic sport where they push this um, heavy metal thing on ice, and they have brooms. Have you seen this?
oh, wait a minute, hockey?
Curling,
Oh,
right?
curling. Oh, yeah, curling. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Curling. If you Google curling beavers, you will find a deep fake of beavers curling. I think it was
Mhm,
after the Winter Olympics, and it's brilliant. I mean, it looks just like that, and they're sweeping it and they're skating.
mhm.
You see it,
Let me
or you
see.
can find it.
Curl.
But
You said curling beaver?
yeah, it's curling, curling, like curling
Is
your
it a
hair,
GIF?
beavers, and it'd be on YouTube or something. But it'll just be it's a deep fake video of them.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
You see it. And they can make them do that. Think what they can make you do, and think
Yeah.
they can make anyone do anything and
Let
be
me see if
anything.
I can share it really quick. Let me
Yeah,
see.
trying. Yeah, I'm sure you can put it in your the notes. But yeah, so that is so as more of this, I think it's going to be fun. Okay, don't get me wrong. I think I love playing with these tools, right? I think it unlocks a sort of creativity to a whole new set of people who maybe don't have the mechanical talent to draw,
Mhm.
for example. I'm as uncoordinated as, I don't know, whatever's uncoordinated. I'm more than uncoordinated than that. And so I need, like, I can have real fun creating these images with Dolly too, um,
Mhm.
I can, if you're if you're a mechanical drawer of images, that's already been kind of threatened, but and so what's going to happen is, yeah, when it comes to copywriting and graphics for uh, selling products, all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
those they're gonna there'll be 1 out of every 10 jobs left on that
Mm.
final end. But when the printing press was invented, everybody was scribe. That was the equivalent of like all these creators today. Uh,
Mhm.
not, but it was a scribe, right? There was literally no printing press. There was no way to make even more than one thing, one copy of a thing. So
That's
if
right.
you wanted to like get the word out, you had a room full of dudes, and I think it was always dudes writing it out over and over, scribe.
Mhm. Manually doing it. Yeah.
And they had to be writing a lot. And then suddenly this machine just completely wipes out their jobs. There was no need
Man. All the jobs were
But
gone.
then a whole new industry rose up around those machines, and the new jobs appeared, and they became the people who operated the printing presses, or greased them, or maintained them, or made the ink for them, or you know, they. And unfortunately, it sometimes takes a generation for all that goodness of that transformation. I mean, people get hurt on the way, like in the very beginning, like in Germany, and your boss comes into the scribe room, and there's like 500 of you in there doing like religious manuscripts, and he's like, "You're all fired. We have this machine." And then
Yeah.
you know, there's 500 people who suddenly got a job by this machine they'd never even heard of. They never saw what's coming. So yeah, they're in a world of hurt. But over time, people start to see it coming, right? And I think that's going to happen with these technologies. Is beware if you do anything that doesn't require sort of human creativity, I think, because the mechanical aspects of creating imagery anyway that evoke something that we could describe in our own language, we can now describe in our own language the imagery that we want to evoke, and it appears. And I don't, you know, where it was like, you know, the moment people stared at the Mona Lisa, it's like, it's uncanny.
Yeah.
Is she smiling or frowning?
Yeah.
And that's purely the execution of the Mona Lisa that they're debating, right? There's one copy, but now it's just so weird when you think of it's sort of this extrapolation for first we found a way for someone to make one thing and make lots and lots of copies of it. But now we've found a way for you to just say what you want and make lots and lots and lots of copies of it, I guess. Yeah. I mean, kind of magic that way. So that's exciting. But there is going to be disruption. And I don't know where you begin on this, but there are arguments of copyright, because the argument is like, well, because DALL-E and you know, crawled the web and looked at my stuff on my website, little bits of my stuff are in DALL-E. Well, guess what? That's also how the brain works. You walk around and you absorb all this stuff, and those little things trigger ideas and inspiration. Everything is built on everything that we've experienced. The only difference is that in this case, the AI experienced it on the web alone. We experienced it on the web and we have physical bodies to move it around. So we're not force fed. We are, but we get to choose what we're force feeding ourselves, right? Yeah. But my point is simply that that's a whole can of worms that, you know, so that's just one man's view, is that you can't really delineate, because our brains work the same way. You know, our ideas build on other ideas, but it's still valid. Like, if you say, paint this photo in the style of, say, a certain modern artist who's still creating, for example, then that, because you can certainly do it now in the style of Van Gogh, and it'll create a Van Gogh for you of whatever you want, but Van Gogh is dead. What if it teaches you how to create it of a live hot artist? Now you're back into deepfake. Now it's a whole new industry of deepfake, like art. And then, like, forget about, I mean, NFT and the cyber bubble. That
I was gonna say NFT, man. Like,
the bubble that got crazy. That's a whole other conversation. But that got crazy because of trying to make digital unique, and that's really hard. To create an artificial uniqueness with the NFT of a digital thing, particularly when it's AIs can now create them for you. But that's yet another conversation. But anyway, yeah, we're in one of those really interesting times where everything's changing really fast. Like
it is. Like, you're trying to keep up with it.
It's like, I think it's like once every 20 or 30 years. I think it's like you get 2 or 3 of these in your lifetime. Hopefully 3 or 4. We'll see. People living longer, but honestly, this is transfer. This is, there's false starts with crypto and blockchain and people getting it a bit wrong and all this stuff. But this generative AI stuff, this is not a flash in the pan. This is one of those foundational. I see it as one of those foundational changes to how technology affects our lives. And so there's a whole new set of tools that the industry needs to develop to allow this new world to function. And if this new world contains everything is being generated by AI, then we got to have something we know is real. And that's the whole.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you basically did the dope nugget, man, and the gist, man. And from what I learned, is that deepfakes can be used to manipulate, and threaten individuals, right? Based off what you said, and corporations out there, And something else I learned too was this has nothing to do with deepfakes, but staying fresh in your career, right? I mean, you sit there and you talked about the transition from the press industry, right? To digital stuff going on now, and people not keeping up with it, right? You think about Blockbuster versus Netflix. You think
Yeah.
about all those things, and so you're giving nuggets out there to this group of people that are trying to start their career and understanding that don't be complacent, right? Sit there and grow with the times. I mean, people are talking about data scientists right now and the machine and AI and all this stuff, and they're worried, is it going to take over your career? Screw that crap, right?
It's the stragglers whose jobs is going to take it.
Exactly, man. Learn your.
No, it's a race. Get into it now.
Get in it, man. Be the person behind the machines, man.
There's so many empty seats, even though there's fewer seats. They're all empty right now. So get in there and go for it. And by the time the stragglers get there, you'll be creating the jobs that they take. And
exactly. So, all right, let's get into some fun stuff, man. They think we're geeks all the time. We're always geeking it out. You have a background. You're like the foundation of the AI startup, man. Not to date you, man, but I do appreciate it, man. I do respect. What you've been through, the foundation, mathematics, statistics. Like, I hate math, right? I hate statistics, but it's a foundation that was set for like AI and all that stuff, machine learning. And so I want to let the audience know that we like to have fun, right? We have opinions about other things. So I want to do this game that I always do with my guests called overrated, underrated, right? You get to decide whether you think it's overrated, underrated, or right where it needs to be. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, wait. Have you been to London before, or you're just traveling?
I have been before, but this is the first time that I'll be like living there.
Okay. All right. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
All right. Crabs.
What'd you say?
Crabs.
Crabs?
Yeah. Do you think it's overrated, underrated? Overrated?
I'm a little grossed out by crabs. I've decided, I mean, if you think too much about them, they're basically big insects. And, and if you really think about that and you think about the goo that's inside of an insect, that's kind of a crab is just a bigger version with that goo inside, and that goo and turn it into something solid, and that's what you're eating. But it's just like the inside of bugs. So that's why I think it's a little bit overrated.
You couldn't live out of Maryland, man. That's the crab.
I know, my brother lives in Baltimore. Okay, he's
really? That's where I'm at, man.
My brother is. I am already disowned as.
Oh, but all right, Alcatraz.
Alcatraz is underrated because if you actually go there, it's really fascinating because of the history of the criminals that were there. So there's lots of stories. So it's not just like a tourist trap of like walking around a building, old building, which it is that, but it's the stories that the guides tell you that's really fun, and of also the people who tried to escape and their fates, which usually did not end well, apparently.
Yeah, definitely, man. I've been there one time. I liked San Francisco when I went there because it was, it was amazing. I mean, it was just beautiful. I got a chance to explore things. I went out there for like VMworld or something like that.
Oh, right on.
And I traveled to Silicon Valley. I checked out Google. I checked out HP site. This was when I was in the government and working at NSA, and we were working on a lot of different projects and stuff and trying to build things. And it was pretty cool, man, to get out there, you know. But I did get the chance to check out Alcatraz, so that was good. All right, Golden Gate Bridge.
That is a can only ever be underrated, because if you actually walk the length of it and
Hmm.
then rewind back to, and I should know the year, but when was it built? 1920 or something like that, and
Hmm.
realize how bold and courageous it was to do that with just two towers.
Hmm.
So if you look at the Bay Bridge, which is the other one, goes to the East Bay, they just wimped out with that. They're like, we're not taking any risk. So it's just like it's a tower and then a
Yeah, you gotta do
tower and a
three,
tower and
four,
a tower.
five. Just kidding.
And it's very functional, but it's ugly.
I
And
didn't think
they
about
did
that.
try to dress it up a little bit with this new spiky thing they added. But
Mm,
the fact that they got it to get across. I mean, the people had to work on the end of those cables, like as they're stringing it, and the two bits of it are coming down, sort of like a drawbridge to meet in the middle. It's
mm,
just that it's another one of those things where it's like how the engineering and the manpower and the lives lost, but surprisingly
mm,
few relative to the danger of that. So I think, and then just the fact that the thing that's lucky about the West Coast and the West in general is that people, other than the Native Americans, we all got here kind of late, and so
mm,
a lot of nature didn't get houses built on it, right? And so that's the amazing thing. The Golden Gate Bridge goes from basically one park, which is the Presidio, which was a military base given back to the city, but a military retirement community, really. And that on the other side, you've got uh, basically Marin Headlands, which is national or state park, national, I think, part of it, because because there's defenses built in the hills there from
mm.
World War II, some of these missile silos and shit. So anyway, long story short, it's all nature. So either sides of the bridge is green and beautiful, and there's beach you can go down to. So it's a pretty special bridge in that it's so close to a major city and so much action, but it's actually connecting two parks.
Yeah, I didn't think about the whole fact that this bridge was built with those two towers, right? I mean,
That was
that is
hard.
amazing, right?
It
You
would
know,
have
you go
been,
across other bridges, they're like, okay, you got about 4 or 5 of them to still hold it down. How do
yeah,
you?
that's lazy. Um, I
I call
mean,
them lazy. All right, okay, two more, right? Two more. Ice cream.
uh, well, that is can also, in my opinion, can do no wrong. So it can never be. It's always underrated because
Hmm.
it is the most. If I like to ask people, like if you were stuck on a desert island and you could only eat 5 foods for the rest of your life, but you can assume they're all perfectly well balanced. So just
Hmm.
go for what you like. So you'll still get the nutrition, even if it's ice cream. And so I don't, ice cream appears on so many people's lists
Yeah,
when you ask that question. Pizza and fries seem to rank up there as well. But
yeah, that easy
so
is the
yeah,
easy
ice
one.
cream is just this, and that's also something literally that couldn't exist without technology, which is kind of weird, but
Hmm.
that's kind of a way to tie it into this whole thing, right? Because freezing,
Yeah,
refrigeration and freezing, uh, we need that in order to. It must have been hard to make ice cream when you had to cut the ice out of frozen lakes and ship it like from Lake
yeah,
Tahoe down here and use it. Well, that's probably why they didn't have ice cream.
yeah. I would agree, man. You know, I love it, and you know, the history behind it is amazing. All right, last one. You ready?
Yep.
The metaverse.
Oh, overrated. Oh my God. I am sorry, but that was another example of where the hypesters got a little ahead of themselves
Hmm.
on sort of that this was a fundamental transformation that's coming. So there are people who disagree with me on this, but obviously, who knows? We'll find out. But I think, you know, I'll put it this way: Meta's version of the metaverse,
Mm.
Mark Zuckerberg's version of the metaverse, I think he's just got it dead wrong. I think I mean, poor guy, he was snatched out of reality when he was whatever, 19 or 20. I don't know how he can develop a vision for what humans want when he hasn't been interacting with normal humans for
Mm.
a third of his life. And I
I didn't
think,
think about that.
yeah, and I think I just don't, I think his gut is wrong. I don't think we all want to wear these motion sickness inducing headsets
Yeah, definitely motion sickness inducing.
to do our jobs, to be like sitting in a room all like in these headsets, like machines, and
Mhm.
like, yo, can you send me that spreadsheet? And
Yeah.
you're not even looking at it, you're just like doing it by looking at it with your eye and you shift it over. That's like for, I'm sorry, I mean, develop that technology to help people who are handicapped, but I don't want to use that as an able-bodied person. I want to get out and meet people and do stuff. And
Yeah.
so, you know, gaming, absolutely fun. Certain
Hmm.
immersive kind of things like, you know, touring, architecture, buildings that are planned. Anything where you need to be in it to understand it, or where it's fun to be in it. So, you know, obviously applications are going to be gaming and porn. And, you know, I think if it gets to work, it's going
Hmm.
to get there. It's going to get there long. It's the same order like the internet. Like the internet
Yeah.
started with porn, and then I think it went to like, I know what got my dad into it was that you could trade stocks, and you know, there's something like, so I don't know. The metaverse didn't have its killer app for me to sort of make. Well, it has some killer apps, but it doesn't have that transformative. Like, oh, we're all just going to switch over to it. You
Hmm.
know, do I really want to walk down the virtual aisles of a virtual store to find my product on a virtual shelf when in Web 2.0, I can just search for it, click it, and click add to cart,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's just sometimes it's
Yeah.
a little too far. So that's why I think people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves on the metaverse.
I mean, definitely a transition for people. I agree that it's like beyond our time. Now, you know what? I could see I think it depends on the generation. Sometimes, who it appeals to, right? Like for me, I can understand. It's like understanding '90s music versus like 2000. Like I'm in between that era where I can understand it, right? And I can get
Mhm.
it, and I can relate with the younger generation who does really want to be all in the metaverse and stuff. And then I can relate with the older generation. I personally wouldn't. I probably would lean more towards the older generation and say, "Look, what the hell are you doing, right?"
But do they? I mean, do they really? What do they know what they want? Have they? I mean, so VR headsets have been around. There's a clip from uh, British TV comedy called Absolutely Fabulous, where Adina is wearing VR glasses and bumping into things
Hmm.
um, from 1992, and so I just I think, yeah, I wonder if, well, if I put it this way, if Gen Z and to some extent millennials are so excited about the metaverse and that it is a difference of opinion that's based more on age, then why aren't they buying headsets? What's going? I mean, this market is not developing. Um,
Hmm.
so I think if I were 22, I would probably say the same thing. I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's so cool! Everything, of course, it's like so cool, and I don't have to get up." But you quickly will realize you want to get
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. You
Now,
know.
everyone will realize that we're physical human beings. We need to operate in the physical world. Certainly the amount of time that some of these people think we would be spending in these headsets, great. I actually like AR much better. Like I
Mhm.
have
I like AR.
AR headset myself. There's a really Nreal, it's called, that Nreal. They have a new one. I think they call it the Air, but it's
Mhm.
like $300. But it all it does is project a screen in front of you, but it's like a home theater screen. It's like a 120-inch screen,
Mhm.
and it's hovering there. So you think you're on an airplane, and you put on these glasses, and you put on your earplugs, and you are in a theater because it's so gigantic. And so that's the beginning. That's that example of the product that's they launched with something much more complicated, couldn't sell them. They stripped everything out and made it nothing more than a second screen. And,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
realized, wait a minute, we're competing with the $1,200 giant television from Panasonic that people are going to put in their living room. We can
Mhm.
give them that experience for $300 and you can wear it on your face. And the CEO, I posted about it, and the CEO actually popped in a thread and said, that's exactly what we're doing. We're like, the market's not ready. So we're going to sell this as a second screen,
Mhm.
competing directly against the giant TVs you see in Best Buys,
Mhm.
because that market is 5 times the size or 15 times the size. And, so they can, get a piece of that and then walk customers into the bigger VR type applications and AR applications.
Yeah, no, I like AR. I like that for sure. Um, I mean, my sons, right? My kids, they're heavy into the other stuff, right? They're heavy into it. So you see the transition, right? But look, hey, Peter, this has been amazing. You have changed the dynamic for the whole understanding what deepfake is, and then also given the use cases. I really love that a lot of the audience was able to really sit there. They're going to be able to sit there and listen and understand some of the use cases, right? How they're impacted by deepfake, and then they can make their own decisions, right?
Exactly.
So I do appreciate you being on the podcast. Audience, thank you for listening to Data's My Science podcast. Shutting me through your passion. I'm your host, Dapper Data. Where can they reach you at, Peter? And is there anything that you're promoting right now?
I would just say check out the app, certifyit.org. So certify it, just like it's spelled .org. And if you have an iPhone, play with it. And
Mhm.
please let me know what you think. My email is peter@certifyit.org.
All right, great, great. And audience, you can always reach me at Mr. Dapper Data on any one of the social media platform. Definitely check me out. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube. Data is my science podcast, right? You can just do www.youtube.com/@% Dapper Data. That's Dapper Data Data. All right. I love you all. Peace. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it.